together the conference of Pathways in Recovery, it was about actually taking forward from recovering ordinary lives. And we were looking for speakers who could speak from a very personal point of view, from their own personal narratives, because we're aware that that is what our members like and find great value and great learning in. So it was about personal narratives of personal experiences and the pathway, the journey they've taken through to a place of recovery. But also from, as we just heard with our keynote speaker, with Geraldine, it's not just about the recovery of the individual, it's the recovery and the pathway to recovery for a society, for a community. And a lot of the people we see are people that have been removed from society. There have been barriers that have been put there, so there's a big log across that pathway for them to overcome, and that's what we wanted to see. We're hearing stories, narratives, experiences, evidence for why we go the way we go, and also how we make recovery, how do we bring recovery into our workplace, so how do we then translate recovering ordinary lives into our practice.
The atmosphere's been wonderful. It's lovely to be with mental health OTs. We've all got a similar drive, passion, and I think this is the time for OT and mental health. I feel this is our time now. I think we've got a lot to offer.
Well, I think one of the things that I'm struck by is it's very easy to get sucked into my job and my role and the usual people I have contact with. But here I've got people from all around the UK, and what's fantastic is I can meet an OT from Scotland, an OT from Northern Ireland, and we're all talking the OT language, we're all talking the same talk, walking the same walk. And again, I find that really refreshing. It really reaffirms kind of my core identity as an OT.
For people who are new to presenting or kind of unsure about what it's going to be like, I think this is a really, really good conference because, we're very accepting and we're very supportive, and most new presenters actually find it a very encouraging atmosphere, and they can come and they can share their ideas, and it doesn't have to be totally research focused, but that's still good. And in fact, that's even more important because it's maybe it's a start of a new idea, something you want to test out, and you just want to get opinions from other people, whether it be just your peers on your level or people who are more experienced, that you can kind of network, you can share, you can talk, and I think that's excellent.
I've been coming to the conference for 6 or 7 years now, and very gradually, and particularly this conference, there's been a distinct uniqueness about it, that the service users are integral in that conference, partly because they attend, partly because they present, but also because you don't know who's who. You don't know who's had a mental illness, you don't know who's having a mental episode, you don't know what people's histories are. We're all very much on an equal, and we take each other as equals and partners, which of course is what occupational therapists are for their clients.
Since been at the conference, it's been really obvious that there are service users amongst the delegates and amongst the speakers, and what it brings is an absolute freshness, because they challenge us as occupational therapists, but they obviously have their own stories that they bring, but it also shows you that they're just people. We talk about working with people, and they are just people. They are people you will talk to in a coffee break, and they've got a different perspective, and they're often much better informed than us. I was with a carer service user the other day, and she knows far more about what's happening and has got more fingers in more pies, and we need these allies because they're passionate about occupational therapy, and it's lovely to see their passion.
Yeah. I think for me, one of the most powerful things has just been the sheer emotional impact of some of these presentations. What I think has been fantastic is people are talking about OT, but they're linking it so well to the service user experience. And the other key thing for me is that we've got so many service users and carers here as well, and they gave great presentations yesterday. And for us, this is all about, we're here because we love our profession, but it's key to link it to the service user experience. And the service users are saying great things about OT. So for me, that has been very uplifting, actually.
This is my first conference, and as a service user, I felt very welcome here. It's been interesting to talk to people directly about my experience and bring a different perspective. For instance, where the carer talked about how she felt about the suicide of her son, I was able to go and talk to her about my own feelings from when I attempted suicide myself. And I hope to give her a slightly more considered position with regard to suicide, and because it isn't just about whether someone's loved or not, it's much more complicated. So it's been good to be involved in those kind of discussions, and also it's quite nice to challenge the professionals a little bit sometimes.
It's been really good at the conference. Obviously, speaking is hard because it's reliving, things that happened that are very raw. But I think it's important, to talk about stories, as Graham calls it, to learn for them and share your experiences with people. So hopefully, they can move on and do it and use it within the job. And for me, the important thing is, that we certainly felt that nobody should go through what we were going through. It is emotional to revisit and go through some of the things, but I want Daniel's death not to have been in vain for me personally, and it's very, very selfish. I don't want anybody to forget Daniel. Daniel will remain etched in our family's hearts forever, but I want to try and take something, and try and make a positive out of what's happened.
In Shirley's instance, the real live, terrible, devastating effects of losing her son, and how mental health services can